My name is Teresa Rutt, and I'm going to tell you a story today with a little trepidation, not to shame or embarrass my sons, but as a story that I hope you will learn from. You see, I have 3 and 5-year-old sons. I am keenly aware of the fact that I am raising white boys. I'm raising white boys today in a culture where there's a lot of it's a racially charged culture and a matrix of systems of injustice. I am raising these 2 boys. And I feel the responsibility of that, and I feel the privilege of that God has given me these 2 boys to raise. And so I determined from the time that they were little that I was going to be intentional. I was going to be intentional to teach them to value the dignity and worth of all people. And so I began to make my list. So I thought intentionality was just a list that I could check things off. Attend a multi-ethnic church, check. Have a diverse group of friends, check. Read stories where the primary characters are people of color, check. So you can imagine, as I'm checking these boxes, thinking I'm doing all the right things, how stunned I was when my 5-year-old comes up to me and he says, "Mama, white people are better than black people." And in an instant, this myriad of emotions crossed my mind and my face: shame, embarrassment, guilt, horror, bewilderment. As I stood there, I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders, thinking, I have to nail this or something's going to be messed up for the rest of his life. So I don't remember the exact words that I said, but it was something along the lines of, no one is better than anyone else. You see, God created us all, and he loves us all, and he created each and every one of us good. And for a moment, he seemed to accept it as I breathed a sigh of relief, and he walked away. But a few moments later, some of the same sentiments were coming out of him. And as I began to engage him in deeper conversation, why? Where are these things coming from? He plugged his ears, started making faces at me, and refused to engage, uncomfortable. Seeing that I couldn't go any further with the conversation at that point, I left it alone. And then a few weeks later, I did my checkboxing some more. I bought more books. I bought books about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I bought books about Harriet Tubman, and I was going to read to him stories of all these heroes. And so I read to him a book about Martin Luther King Jr., and afterwards he goes, "Mama," this is his favorite question at me, "are any of these people real?" This stack of books. And I said, thinking this is my opportunity, I said, "Yes, buddy. Dr. Martin Luther King was a real man." I said, and he worked hard so that people could be treated the same. I said, because you see, not that long ago, black people could not drink from the same drinking fountains as white people. They could not just sit on the same seats of the buses. They could not attend the same schools. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he worked hard so that people could be treated equally. And as he did before, he plugged his ears. And he started making faces at me and refused to engage in conversation. And I am not a very patient mother. And I started getting angry, right? And so I brought him to his room, and I set him up in his bed. And he said, "But Mama, you said we could watch a show when we were done reading." And in an instant, I just said, "No, not you. I don't like 5-year-olds, and you're a 5-year-old, and you have to stay in your bed." And I said, but Mama, I said, "No, I like 3-year-olds. So your brother can watch TV, but you have to stay in your bed." And he started protesting. He said, "But Mama," he said, "when can I get down from my bed?" And I said, "You have to stay in your bed the rest of the day." I said, "You can come out to eat, but you have to eat on the floor and you don't get dessert because I don't like 5-year-olds. 5-year-olds aren't any good." And he started protesting and saying, he started losing it, but 3-year-olds are stupid, Mom, and 5-year-olds are better. And I walked out of the room. And I saw him go down to get a toy to bring back up into his bed. And I walked back in the room. I said, "No, you don't get a toy. 5-year-olds don't get toys because 5-year-olds aren't any good. And I don't like 5-year-olds. And he started to lose it. So after a few minutes, I picked him up as he's sobbing, and I walked down and I sat down with him sobbing on my shoulder. And as he calmed down, I looked at him. I said, "Hey, buddy, how did that make you feel when I said I didn't like 5-year-olds?" "Bad, Mama," he said. I said, "How can you right now change the fact that you are a 5-year-old?" "No, Mama." I said, "Do you think it's fair that I treat your brother better because he's a 3-year-old?" He said, "No, Mama." I said, "Can people who have black and brown skin change the color of skin that they have?" "No, Mama." I said, "How do you think they feel when they're not treated as well?" "Bad, Mama." I said, "Do you think that's fair?" "No, Mama." And I saw a shift start to work in his mind. And I don't claim that we're through everything yet, but I have hope I have hope that as we have intentional conversations with our kids, not just checking the boxes, the check boxes are good, but I have hope that as we have intentional conversations with our kids, as I talk with my kids, it will make the talk that parents of kids of color have to have unnecessary. Because I have hope that as we train our children intentionally, as we raise them up to value the dignity and worth of all people, that change will happen. Thank you. We have to share our stories of hope.